Welcome back. Your text is read, you've summarized it, and you want to keep going with your response process. So, what's next then? Well, it might not be enough to summarize a text. We need to make sure that we understand everything that's in it as well. That's why, in this video, we'll see how you can analyze and interpret your text. There are three important steps to analyzing and interpreting your text. First, read between the lines. Then, identify the author's intention. And finally, rate the text's quality. Don't worry, we'll look at all of those in just a moment. Let's take a look at the first one. Read between the lines. Perhaps during your reading you noticed some sentences that might have had a meaning you didn't catch, or maybe there were some expressions that you didn't quite understand. That's where we'll need to read between the lines, which is basically just finding the hidden meaning of certain parts of the text. Make sure that you go back on sentences that seem to have a strange meaning and ask yourself simple questions like, what could this sentence mean? Or is there a deeper meaning here? Take your time, focus on what these sentences could be telling you, and try to find the figurative language that could point to new meaning. For example, when we look at the sentence, wombats are built like little tanks, do we really mean that wombats are made like tanks? No. This is an expression that means wombats are solid and compact, like tanks. We can also deduce from that sentence that wombats are probably pretty heavy. Sometimes, to fully understand a sentence, you'll have to ask someone else to explain it to you. Don't be afraid to ask your teacher or your parents about sentences you're having trouble with. The second step is to identify the author's intention. What we want to know is first the message and then the theme. In order to find those elements, the first question we need to ask ourselves is, why did the author write the text? Were they trying to tell us a story, or maybe they were trying to convince us of something, or perhaps they simply wanted to share information with us? Then we can ask ourselves, what is the message that I have to understand? For this question, try to think about specific things that you learned by reading the story. In a story you read, you could have learned maybe that it's wrong to steal. It is. And that you should always ask before you borrow things from your friends. You learned a valuable lesson from the text. Or maybe you learned in another text about tons of different kinds of fish. Very different texts, but you both learned a lot from either of these. And now, you know more. Lots of information was gained from watching or reading these texts, videos, or anything else. In both cases, you learned something new, and that's what the message of the text is. The final step to finding the author's intention is to find the themes, which we can do by asking, again, a couple of simple questions. Are there any ideas that come back often in the text? For example, like we just see here, in a text about detectives trying to find criminals, we may have a lot of ideas about justice and making the right choice between right and wrong. Maybe these ideas come back to us again and again throughout the text, and we have to think about them while we're reading. That would be one of the themes in the text. Right versus wrong, good versus evil, making the right choice. Then, if a text is maybe about wombats and it's telling us a lot of cool, fun facts about them, maybe the author just wanted to share their love of wombats with the world. That's the theme. Finally, last step would be to rate the text's quality, which you can do yourself. First, you can ask yourself, Well, what did I think of this? What did you think of this? How difficult was it to read? What made it difficult or easy to read for you? These are all great questions to ask yourself when rating the text's quality. This is all a matter of opinion, so don't be afraid to speak your mind. That's it for now. It's that simple. But if you want to know more about the response process, you can always take a look at the other videos we have right here on the YouTube channel or on alloprof.qc.ca. And in the meantime, as always, keep on reading.